To do this, we clone Airweave and put our API keys. They ask for OpenEye and Mistral. Once we give all the API keys, all the containers start to be installed. And when they're installed, we can go into localhost and we see all the connections that Airweave has. But first we have to give a collection. A collection is a group of connections. You can put up to 4 different sources. Once we have the collection, we can choose the 4 connections we want the most. In this case, I'm just going to choose Postgres, as I'm going to connect my finance subbase. We put the credentials, and in this case, I'm just going to choose the expenses table, which is where I have the expenses. And it would be synchronizing. Once synchronized with status completed, we can add other sources that we want. We can modify the details such as scheduling, how often we want it to be updated, if we want it to be updated right now in a one-time sync. Once we have configured it as we want, we are going to create the API key. The API key is used to connect to all Airweave. We create the API key and we don't even need to copy it if we go back to the collection from before and go to connections. We have all the connections with the newly created API key. We have curl, Python, Node, JS, and MCP, which is the one we're going to use. Once the connection to MCP is saved, we go to our favorite client. In this case, I am going to use Levante, which is an open source software, and we put the connection credentials where necessary. Once we have written everything, we can test the server and see that we have personal data. We save and we can go and try. In this case, I am also going to tell you my 3 most recent expenses. And it returns the 3 most recent expenses, as you will now see in the database that those 3 are just that. But to test it in more depth, we are going to add a new column, and we are going to make a manual sync so you can see how it is updated from time to time, or how you can update it yourself. In this case, I have put cinema, I have invented the category, and I have put that it is today so that it can be seen that it is the last expense. We click on refresh the data and it would be completed. And again, we come back to our client in the favorite CP. We asked about our last expense. He looks for the last expense, and as you will see, at first he fails, but then he tries again and manages to get it. We see that he has the expense of cinema, and we have everything.